Welcome back. AirAsia posting a 92% drop in profits in the first quarter, but proposing a special dividend for shareholders. Both revenue and EBITDA, in fact, rose from Q1 last year, but AirAsia said it was hurt by a surge in costs from route changes to engine overhauls and the pricey adoption of new leasing standards. Shareholders will receive 90 cents per share. 90 cents per share, pardon me, from gains on the partial disposal of a subsidiary last year. Nancy.
Meanwhile, the tough conditions for airlines have prompted more tie-ups. Finnair and China Southern launching their code sharing this Saturday. The cooperation will add 5 new destinations for Finnish Airlines in China. Well, for more, I'm pleased to say we're joined now by Topi, who is CEO at Finnair and joins us right here in Singapore as he does mark the 8th anniversary of Finnair's Helsinki-Singapore route. A pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you for your time. Well, you've talked previously about where you went wrong in China before your tenure, of course, and now that you are a few months pretty well into the job now, I mean, how do you think the progress that you're making in China stacks up to where you want to eventually be, and how does this latest code share agreement fit into that broader strategy?
Well, absolutely, and first of all, thank you for the invitation. Good to be here. So I think that China is a very important market for us, and we have been in the Chinese market for 30 years. We are in there for the long run, and as a company, we are all about partnerships. We think that partnerships are a possibility for us to seek scale beyond our size, and therefore the code share agreements that we have now recently released with China Southern as well as Juneyao are important building blocks for us, for our presence on the Chinese market, improving connectivity for our customers.
And will this give you a significant leg up here when it comes to beating the competition, the likes of the Gulf carriers that have also really tried to position themselves as a hub for taking people to Asia? Because I understand that's what you're doing as well, saying, look, we can be the player that connects Europe or other parts of the world to Asia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as an airline, we are all about connecting Europe and Asia via the short northern route, utilizing the optimal geographical location of Helsinki. And you know, these partnerships provide the additional connections for our customers and smooth travel experience, and therefore they are important for us to improve our presence in Asia on the overall.
Topi, if we can bring it back to Europe, just talk us through what's behind the little Brexit bet and increasing flights to the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have been increasing our frequencies to London this year, 6 daily frequencies today. And this is because we see a lot of underlying demand on the UK market, and especially in us connecting to Asia. Destinations like Hong Kong, Singapore are very much growing from London. And yeah, I mean, we took this little bet, and so far so good.
Now, cargo really seems to be the pressure point for many global carriers, and volumes are down across the industry. How bad has it been for Finnair, and what is that part of the business telling you about the health of the global economy?
Yeah. For the time being, the cargo business has been relatively good for us. It seems that we have been competitive and increasing our market share. So the concerns around the global economy and, for example, the US-China trade talks have not yet been visible in our business. But certainly this is a big theme for the sort of world economy at large, and also for cargo business in general. And this is a point of concern. But at the same time, we see, for example, the Chinese economy being robust, and we see signals of the stimulus in the Chinese economy working.
Have you seen any downturn in business travel demand between your routes in Europe and China? Because we've seen some data, especially in like the export numbers coming not just from China but Japan to Europe, a real slowdown there, and that is in large part due to the concerns about slower growth in Europe. Are you seeing that reflected in the demand for business travel?
Not really at this point of time. So relatively stable for the time being. But of course, I mean, we are not immune to the developments in the world economy. So we are observing this situation very closely.
Are prices coming down in order to stay more competitive in this environment?
We experience a bit of price pressure for the time being.
And speaking of which, Topi, how are you coping with higher jet fuel costs? And should the industry perhaps be preparing potentially for higher fuel bills, given the prospect of supply disruptions from the Middle East? And how are you managing that? And do you ever foresee a situation where you will have to pass those higher costs on to your passengers?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, this is there is headwind and more challenging environment for airlines currently on the back of the increasing fuel prices. That is, of course, not uncommon entirely in the industry, and typically there is a sort of little bit of a time lag before the sort of higher fuel bill will be worked into the prices. We are not seeing that happening for the time being, but that is predominantly because of the fact that many airlines have their sort of fuel cost hedged, and therefore there is typically at least a 6-month delay in these things in the industry.
You're a 20-year veteran of Nordea Bank. Yeah. You're a career banker, if you will. And so what do you say to those who say, what does a career banker know about the airline industry? What do you say to them? And what do you bring to this role?
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, there's a lot to learn always when you change the industry, and that certainly applies to me as well. But there are more similarities between the industries, financial industry and the aviation, than you would think. Both are service businesses, both are digitalizing fast, both are regulatory-driven businesses, capital intense, data heavy. So there's a lot to draw upon as well.
Topi, just finally, I mean, we're rounding out the global risk environment at this moment, and I know you talked already about why you are sending more flights to London and Brexit Britain, if you will, but if the odds are increasing of a hard Brexit, which the market currently thinks it is, I mean, would that change your strategy in Britain at all?
Well, I think that probably not that much, because the way the things are unfolding is that even in the case of the hard Brexit, the wire traffic from London would more or less be secured, and that is the thing that we would be focused on in terms of our business model.
Okay.
Topi, we've got to wrap it up there. Thank you very much indeed for dropping by and chatting to us this morning. Topi Manner there, the CEO of Finnair.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Nancy.
It's our pleasure. Still ahead, we'll get the final word from guest host Vishnu Varatan of Mizuho Bank. In the meantime, here's a look at the movers so far in Tokyo. Back in 2 minutes, everybody.